Thank you very much. Okay, welcome back, everyone. After the lunch break here, so as Akshay was saying very just now, Singapore have opened up a pretty large lead here, and I think it's looking more and more challenging for Malaysia to make a comeback, but still quite a few games, so I definitely don't count Malaysia out of this yet. And this definitely promises to be an interesting game. Ricky Purnomo, definitely a veteran of the fray and a many-time WSC player. And Tengku, someone I have not personally played before, but seems like a strong player as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you would expect, given the team standings, even the individual standings are dominated by Singapore at the moment. So the top six players are all from Singapore after 13 rounds, and Hubert Wee is in the lead, having lost just one game.
Amazing, yeah, yeah. Doesn't surprise me, but he always performs time and time again.
Yeah, I think
I think,
he's had a pretty fantastic year in terms of his tournament results. He did really well in Bangalore, where he played really well against Nigel, and
oh
then he's won
yes,
a few
he
other big
did an
tournaments too.
amazing job. Yeah, yeah, I think I last played him in Las Vegas, where he engineered a brilliant comeback against me, and with a non-bingo triple triple, and yeah, it was fantastic play, and I think yeah, he always brings such a high level of play. Back to this game, so it looks like Ricky will be starting things off, and he's certainly got a good rack here.
Yeah, always nice to see a blank on the first turn.
Sure is, but I think we may be waiting a little bit longer for the bingo, but maybe not too long, given Tengku has lined up the very nice insulin here. Yeah, Jalab looks like the simplest play. Jab is also a possibility, but probably no need to sacrifice the points here.
Yeah, it is a pretty big sacrifice. 20 points.
Yeah, I think. Well, but Ricky does choose the sacrifice, which is interesting. I mean,
Yeah, we saw him shaking his head just now. Maybe I think he lined up Jalab, but maybe he just wasn't sure enough to pull the trigger.
yeah, could be. I mean, sometimes that happens. I mean, Jab probably is going to give him a bingo next turn, as he seems to have a fair number of alternatives. But I think simple bingo of insulin, which is obviously common word, but not always easy to find them. So definitely a good start for Tenku in this game. But Ricky will
Yeah,
probably be right back with his one of many bingos.
yeah. There's a less common anagram, which is inulins, which also would have played with jabs.
Oh, that would have been nice. Yeah, probably a bit more closed, I think. So I think may have been the better play. Something like legation, long time, many choices here.
Yeah, and you'd expect Ricky to find one of those.
Yeah, a player of his caliber, very likely to hit a bingo here. I think probably the question is more which one he opts for. Yeah, all of them put the E on the next to the triple there. So I think, as far as I can see, um, not that many alternatives.
Yeah,
Yeah, keep it simple. Go for legation. I mean, nothing to criticize that. Maybe could have gone for the cute jelly tongue, but nah, probably not. As Tenku, after his bingo, doesn't seem to have been rewarded with the next pick, but thanks to Ricky's play, at least Genie would fit nicely under legation. So like clean
Yes,
up the
that's
clunt a
nice.
bit. Yeah, I think it's a simple choice to, if he sees it, to just clean up the clunk a bit. And yeah, OIE, not your utopian leave here, but I think given his rack, I think you could hardly do better.
Yeah, it's one of those racks where you think that, your opponent's just bingoed with a double double and you can't really capitalize. But yeah,
Exactly, yeah.
something like Genie is nice. It clears up the vowels and yeah, you take your chances a little bit with EIO, but I think
I think, yeah,
it's
you have to go
acceptable.
for it, don't you? Yeah, I think you have to go for it. And it's, yeah, 20 something, mid 20s. And yeah, when the next best thing is like ONIE or changing, I think. ONIE, so I think maybe a miss to some extent from Tengku. I think extra points would
Yeah.
probably have been better, but it's not a terrible play by any means.
Yeah, I can see why he might want to retain the G just for insurance against drawing more vowels.
Yeah, probably just a balance kind of thing. I mean, he did play it quickly, so I mean, maybe he might not have been looking actively for Genie as well, but he may have spotted it and chosen it for the balance. But Genie is definitely quite a few more points. This is
Yeah,
12, 14, 16, and yeah, Genie is, I mean, yeah, quite a few
28, I
more,
think.
like 28. Yeah, you're counting these much quicker than me. Yeah, yeah, I don't know if the better leave is quite worth that level of point sacrifice here, but let's see. I mean, definitely a tight opening to this game, and I mean, in this specific case, it might have paid off a bit without giving the TEX spot to Ricky. But of course, that's not how they will be playing the game. Much we suddenly have the luxury of
Yeah.
seeing both sides here. What looks good for Ricky here?
Yeah, I think he will want to get rid of the Q. And I think he's lined up what seems to be the optimal play, which is QAT underneath
Yeah, Cat
TLE.
has the added benefit of like if he gets a suitable consonant, he could play something ending in IX and QI and lax and everything. So I think that could be some
Yeah.
added benefit there. But even without taking that into account, it's a good play. I mean, yeah, I think you can also put it under Oni, but this may be stronger. So I think again a pretty unobjectionable play for Ricky here.
Yeah, and I think the fact that it sets up a potential IX play underneath is attractive.
I think so too, and I think it probably simplifies his decision making, and is indeed rewarded with a pretty good pickup. And ticks might come down, but Geit GEIT the likely play for Tengku, and I mean it's
Yeah, he has lined it up.
yeah. So I think we may not see Ricky being able to exploit the spot he's created. So that's often the case for these kind of spots that are pretty. Oh, okay. So he's putting G here. So I think I'm not so sure about that, but I mean, yeah, it keeps a nice leave, but exactly where is he going to make use of that leave is what I'm a bit unsure about here.
Yeah, he needs to draw the exact combination that works with DOED.
Yeah, that's a
It's
tough spot. I mean,
retain the
you'd have
D,
to
but yeah,
probably have to start with the D as well. I mean, I mean, it might happen, but I mean, I think Guide might well have been a better play here. And ticks, I think we're going to see in short order from Ricky to, and of course, yeah, oh, Z here. Okay. Z and Y. Definitely.
would you consider
He
just
was,
XI and QI here, Anand?
that's
I,
not a bad play either. I mean, it's quite strong, I think. I mean, and Yeah, you can certainly hit bingos with legations with reasonable frequency, I'd say. So I think wasn't I mean, I would have probably plonked down ticks without too much
Six.
thought, but I think XI is nice. I mean, especially with the lead, I think he can kind of play in a I mean, of course he doesn't want to create too much volatility here, but I think he has a pretty appreciable chance of getting the bingo and yeah, why not?
Yeah, I'm not sure it's a straightforward decision because you are giving up quite a few points with XI versus DIX. It's just as you said, the leave is nice. The leave is interesting.
Yeah, XI is 29 here and takes is what 20 31
41.
30,
Yeah.
41. So I think yeah, 12 points it's not yeah, it's certainly possible that XI is better here. And I mean, yeah, you have to suddenly tailor the leave values to this board and I think yeah, given that legation spot is probably one of the few bingo hotspots. Yeah, XI is he's certainly
Yeah.
playing for the bingo here and I like the look of the play. I mean, so can Tengku hash his Z here in some effective way that kind of gets him back on tempo this game? And looks like regardless of what he does, Ricky may well bingo. I mean, notifies his looming
Sure.
large, but
Yeah, it's not a spot that you would expect Tenku to tamper with.
yeah, not at all. I mean, yeah, he could play something like Ned and Dorsey here, but it's not that inspiring and probably gives back quite a bit. He can keep the Z and maybe play Doty and uh, parallel to insulin.
Yep.
But again, doesn't quite achieve that much. Yeah, difficult spot for him. I mean, I think he has a nice rack, but it's maybe not the best suited for this board. And kind of course, he was probably thinking about bingos when playing G, but here, um, even without the bingo, I think the rack itself doesn't necessarily cohere so well with this board. So I think
Yeah, and
always tidy comes down. Okay.
which allows
Fist note
fist
is
note.
fist
Exactly.
note is
Yeah.
good, yes. Yeah, fist note is going to be a serious thorn in Tenku's side here. Yeah, ironically, perhaps Doty or something would have blocked. Of course, he's not going to be knowing Ricky's rack here, but so I mean, from the standpoint of maybe creating some space for his Z, with a suitable draw, I think it's not a bad play. But
Yeah.
I think he knows that he's kind of down a tempo on this board, and it's going to probably get worse if, well, much worse if Ricky finds fist note. Fist note certainly pretty high prop, I think, but it's kind of
Ricky seems to be lining up plays underneath the XI though.
ooh, okay, interesting. So yeah, suddenly this game will be much tighter if he um yeah, I don't know about playing something like Fino underneath because it creates a lot of openings. I mean, if you're missing fist note and you want to keep this blocked, you could just play something like finest parallel to tidy, and I think that
Yeah.
is going to put an end to much of the action on this board. But still, you have the line under toe and everything, so it's not completely blocked out. Yeah, big decision for him, and he is missed fist note. Okay, I mean, certainly, it doesn't look like it'll be. too costly for him, especially as Tengku has no way to block the chins line, and
Yeah,
but still definitely a miss from a player of Ricky's caliber. But I think may well have been eyeing that spot. So I think, given the high value of the lead and the fact that he doesn't have to open too much, I mean, it certainly is a play that might sim well. And Postage and Gestapo on his rack now. So I think Cottages underneath G, definitely stuff through. Gatepost is good, isn't it? And Cottages. So I
yes.
think
Yeah. I'm
a
not
lot of
sure I
options now.
like this play from Tengku though. It scores 38, but the leave is just awful.
Yeah, there's kind of no future with this leave here. I mean, yeah, I think what else could he have done? Yeah, Hove or something to open up some more space.
Yeah, I
Hugh,
Hove was probably nice.
yeah, Hugh is a possibility, a top legation as well. But again, maybe a bit too timid on this. Yeah, I think,
Yeah.
yeah, it seems like he's actually drawn about as well as could have been given that leave. I mean, Ian is not too bad, but yeah, definitely. So Ricky seems to have seen his at least two of his several bingos here. So I think
Yeah.
we are going to see him take about 100 point lead, which might well might well be too much for Tenku to overhaul. But
Sure. At least in the short term, it looks a bit challenging for Tengku.
that's right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, never say never. I think still lines open, and yeah, he can keep fighting. But it will be interesting to see which of the bingos Ricky takes. I think, um, yeah,
I like
Gatepost is pretty good.
yeah, Portage's underneath G is probably the most
I,
defensive
probably the best. Yeah, ironically, it would give back the most in this particular case because um,
with the
of the
H. Yeah.
H. Yeah, but I think just from the probabilities, I think it's a very good play. This one, yeah, I'm not sure if it's needed for him to even open the triple triple line. It's not going to hit very frequently, but
Yeah, I think he had a
much.
chance to shape the board a little bit, but he's chosen to the aggressive option. It might pay
Yeah,
off, but yeah,
definitely the aggressive option. And yeah, I think when you're up, you always want to kind of dry up the space a bit. And in this play, doesn't really achieve that. And he's not going to be punished in this instance, I think, too much. I mean, shove
yeah,
is probably going to come down, or maybe Tenku will keep this line open and play like Hut atop legation and hope for the
yeah.
best. I mean,
That would be a really bold play. Yeah, and it
yeah, I
kind of makes
think
sense
down
if you're down
113.
by yeah, exactly.
Down 113, I think need to at least gamble a bit if you want to get back in this.
Yeah, certainly worth a shot
Yeah,
because your
let's see
opponent,
which one.
the post bingo draw could have been unfavorable for your opponent. So
Exactly. So I think, yeah, you want to at least create a bit of volatility that they're going to have to address, I think. And yeah, I think let's see which one he'll take. Certainly looks, for me at least, between shove and something like hut.
yeah,
Not a lot, I
Hut
see.
or Hun.
Aneth is interesting as well. Yeah, so it's not a bad play, but a bit easier to kind of exploit for Ricky in general. And
Yeah,
in this instance, I think Mihi is probably a pretty simple play unless there's anything else with greater defensive merit. But given the number of lines, probably seems best for Ricky to just balance his rack and see if he can get a bingo of his own. And due course, as Tengku has picked a very nice rack here, and so I think
yeah, he's probably got a
sounds
bingo. Yeah,
yeah a lot of options. Well, maybe not a lot, but at least enough to get a bingo of his own. No Bates, no Venus at least, and very possibly other things too. Let's see what Ricky's thought process is here.
He does seem to be contemplating Mihi.
Yeah, I think from rack balance kind of point of view, I think Mihi is very strong. And you like it's not that easy for him to restrict many lines here, given the opening under G and the line under pottages as well. So I think,
Yeah,
yeah, maybe the kind of pure equity play is kind of going to be how he thinks about this situation. I mean, yeah, hamper is possible too, but the leave is garbage. So I think that probably puts an end to that.
yeah. I think he was considering Samir from the S of Portages.
Oh, that's a cool one. I didn't quite see that. It certainly has some merit. So he's going for Samia. I
He's
think
going for
it's
Samir.
a good play.
Yeah, I think given the lead
Which
he has again, it's turnover is your friend.
that's right. And in this case, I think it's going to amplify the score of Tengku's bingo. But of course, that's I think if you're looking at it just generally, I think this might be a little bit less likely to yield bingers compared to Mihi, where you have the vowel there. So I think
Yeah, much more wide open.
certainly
Yeah,
that's right. So Norvate's pretty simple, and Tengku cashes nicely.
yeah. That should be
88
around
much needed
88.
points. Yeah, much needed points for him, and it will put him back in at least touching distance. So Ricky's still with some more work to be done. Let's see. So
I can't
what
quite
is
see
Rick?
his style. Is that an R? I think he's got birthday without the T.
Yeah, Dahabia is good, isn't it? If I remember right.
Yes.
Yeah, oh my, that's what it reminded me of. But let's.
Yeah, I can't quite tell if it's an R or an A.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not sure either, and definitely valuation of what he should do is quite contingent on what it is. Okay, so it is an R. So I mean, if we're continuing in the turnover kind of mode, you can always play hybrid underneath pottages.
Yeah, you could also play hybrids underneath G.
Oh yes, the Toei spot is very nice. Yeah.
Oh, there is an S in scene.
Maybe a little bit high entropy there. You can always play Hey atop legation as well. So I think
Yeah,
simpler play. Hybrid suddenly effective from at least underneath pottages will kind of obstruct a bit more of the space, and nothing goes in front of PI. So I think from that, but still you have this chins line. So
yeah.
from that point of view, this hybrids could have some defensive merit as well. So and not entirely obvious which is best.
Does the fact that your lead's been cut down from, let's say, about 116 to just 26 now, does that change your choice of play here?
Yeah, I mean it's a very good point because yeah, probably the point sacrifice for defense is less salient at this kind of deficit where it's oh this kind of lead rather where it's quite close. So I think yeah, you can kind of return to just kind of pure equity playing instead of thinking so much about controlling the risk on the board. So I think
Yeah,
yeah, suddenly you do have to always be mindful of the margins, and this game suddenly that's moved up and down a bit.
yeah. So I guess from that standpoint, maybe HAY or BAY over ligation is probably best in terms of equity.
I think so. Yeah, I think it's a pretty yeah harpy through the P of pottages is possible as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, interesting play if that S were not there probably would be to play bid or something underneath G to set up the H for EDH. That might be interesting. But
sure. Yeah, that's a cool concept. Yeah.
of course, the S being unseen might make, but it still could be interesting because, but yeah, of course, if you're thinking that he might have the S, then it's much less effective. But maybe a play for certain risk-seeking individuals. Birdie with this spelling is not good, is it?
It's no good.
Yeah,
Ah,
so
he's
hopefully
considering
he
that
doesn't.
underneath G. Okay.
That would be potentially problematic if that is indeed banished from the board. I can see why he would like the play. I mean, it's uh, okay. No, he doesn't. So hybrid comes down, and it's certainly a pretty clean play.
Yeah.
Again, turning over a lot of tiles. Yeah, Tengku has suddenly an interesting decision here. Vom is possible, Wove is possible.
Yeah, I think similar considerations for him too. Do you turn over tiles in the hope of drawing that case S, which could be really valuable under chins, or do you just try and score and balance with something like warm?
Yeah, it's always a difficult decision in these cases, and as we see, Ricky's turnover is rewarded, and he has indeed picked up that S, and I think that could be game deciding here.
Yeah,
Keeps keeps the tension with Vom. Again, it's
yeah. On second thought, I think Vove is probably better here because if you're behind, you want to create some more volatility. Um,
exactly, yeah, and I think it might have created some more lines for him to
yeah,
hit incoming tens. Of course, it's doesn't work that well with his rack, but I think Vom is just closing everything off, and I think barring hitting the chin's line, and yeah, Ricky does the right thing here, just farming that S forward. Probably
yeah,
Tenku is going to keep playing for it, and it's not going to come. Yeah, I think this is going to be a very difficult mountain for Tenku to climb. And I think especially with this dreadful pick, he might be almost out of options.
for sure.
Yeah, and Ricky continues to draw some very synergistic tiles. Of course, he has the bingo, but um, Oriads will not, unless Tenku opens a line, it's not going to quite play here.
No. Would you consider something like Ruru here to the U of Anet? Just make
Well, I
something
guess you
happen.
have to, yeah. I guess you just have to do that. It. I doubt it'll feel that good for him, but I think he has to try something. Yeah, Ruru is a possibility. So it's suddenly going to be difficult for him to manage his rack and create a spot that he can kind of exploit at future times. And I think that kind of underscores your point actually about why Vom is a inappropriate play given this game situation. And I think it's kind of sealed off this board and
Yeah, it's
yeah,
worked against him.
certainly has. Yeah, he can do something like Rev, but he doesn't even have another E to. kind of hook it and get himself out. I mean, of course, if he does rev, I think that'll finish things in one shot itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly going to be difficult.
Yeah, Ricky will be feeling a lot more comfortable having drawn that last S. He doesn't need to make anything happen here. All the plays have to be made by Tengku here if he needs to win.
Absolutely, yeah, and I think so. Tengku has kind of put paid to this S line and probably with it also maybe saved some spread, but reduced his winning chances a bit too. So they,
Yeah,
but I can sympathize given his rack was not likely to give any bingo in the immediate future. So I think, although it has improved a bit now, so I think he may. He said he has some options like so still a T and yeah. So he could play Wit next turn and set up the last T for Twit.
sure.
So
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah.
that could give him some opportunities. Um, from Ricky's perspective, it's not entirely obvious what to do here. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I think he
mean
might want to place something over legation that also obstructs that bingo lane underneath.
that would be my thinking. Yes, I
Yeah,
think you
yeah,
just already got a very comfortable lead, and so you can just kind of go one line to the next and just shut them down. Yeah, slight threat from the line at the bottom, which are maybe
yeah,
not the most conducive tile to bingo through. Yeah, it's not considerable scoring opportunities don't seem to be. But OG'd is good as sorry, no, but EHM is not. So you could play Geode instead there, but that's not that many points. And
no,
may
yeah,
yeah, he's suddenly giving it a bit more thought. I think it's not. Yeah, the plan has to be to kind of just obstruct up the remaining space on this board, and but the order to do it in is perhaps less obvious.
yeah,
Hmm. Yeah, looking at the pool, it's like not that many bingos that can, although there are a few, I mean, that could go under jabs. But yeah, actually not that many bingos overall, like let alone through each of the individual spots. So I think
yeah. I think
Ricky's
what
a bit
confounds the
hedged.
decision here is that is Ricky's lead is just 42, and
Yes,
he doesn't
yes.
want to be stuck in a rut where he plays defensively but doesn't score enough to outrun a bingo.
Yeah, always the nightmare scenario in that regard, I think. Yeah, I've certainly fallen victim to that on many occasions where you're kind of so focused on protecting everything and like suddenly, let's say, Tengku makes a play like Wit, and then in the meantime, but yeah, some of these plays could be defendable, but if you're always kind of conceding some level of score in terms of as a penalty in defending the board and state of the board and its volatility as something that's like not fixed at what it is at any given time. It's definitely a
Yeah,
changing quantity. All this, no doubt, will be under consideration for him.
Yeah, and if he does play there, Anand, I think there's a nice play for Tengku through the PI. He can play top E there.
Oh, that's an excellent find. Yes. Yeah, that will be uh, quite a seductive spot to hit if he sees it. Yeah, I like that play a lot. I was so focused on bingo spots that I wasn't thinking of any kind of pure scoring options. Yeah, Rad is quite satisfactory from the blocking point of view, but does lower the quality of the leave a bit.
Yeah, maybe Ricky felt that there was the R at the on the bottom lane gives him some flexibility.
True, yeah, yeah. Given preserving that R would make it quite unlikely to get a bingo that actually uses the bottom R. In that sense, it actually could be quite a judicious play that so
Oh,
Wira, Toa is no good, is it?
no, it's no good. And
Ricky, will he remove this from the board and seal the deal? Hmm.
no, I don't think he's held.
No.
No, okay.
Okay. Surprising. Yeah, Wira is certainly not a bad play if Toa were good, but again, it doesn't kind of achieve anything in terms of opening anything new. I mean, it's just kind of reconciling him um, to a loss of some magnitude here.
Yeah. I think if he'd seen Toppy, he probably would have played it.
Yeah, Toppy is certainly a better play. I mean, I
Unless
think
he's also, yeah, he's kind of resigned himself to, just damage control and not trying to win the game, but just make sure that Ricky doesn't win by a too large margin.
yeah, that's also a reasonable thing to switch to. I mean, if margin is consequential, I mean, you always want to kind of create some winning chances and suddenly made it in a way that Ricky can just keep the board in its present state and
Yeah.
think just coast to the win. I mean, from Ricky's perspective, doesn't look like any bingo is coming in a hurry given this pool. Ricky continuing to keep pretty synergistic tiles, and Tengku is suddenly his tiles are not giving anything close to a bingo here.
Yeah, barring something really crazy, I don't think Tenku has a serious chance of winning this game.
No, I think the only thing is like card and set up for some e-card thing, but it's going to
Yeah.
be blocked in no time, and I can't see him achieving much through that route. Yes, he can obviously play something like C underneath, and that's what he goes for.
There you go. Yeah.
But, but I think he has perhaps given up on winning this one, which, given what's left in the bag and what's on his rack, is understandable. So, Ricky, of course, can play something like cat or ket to just set up that last S, and but he doesn't have to do anything too fancy to win this.
Kalpis is good, isn't it?
Oh, how do you spell that? Kal.
Kalpis.
Oh, that's a great find. Yeah, yeah. No, I did not see that. That's excellent, and I'd be pretty confident that's best. yeah, Kalpis is rock solid. Yeah, Ricky quite low on time actually. Now that I've just realized.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, I hadn't noticed.
What did he play there? He just
He just
oh
played the D, I think. Just tried.
oh okay. Just set up Slake, I think. So
Yeah.
that's certainly a pretty safe way to go, but not quite as good as Kalpis, which would have forced the out in two quite elegantly. Yeah, I think Kalpis followed by Deeve is almost
Yeah.
surely the best end game sequence here. So yeah, you will tug and on, I think, should
Yeah, that's a nice
close
fit.
this game. Yeah, I think making some use of that all his tiles here, but it's still a very comfortable win for Ricky and another win in the tally of Singapore. That so I
Yeah, they
think
continue to dominate.
yeah, the trend is just not easing yet.
Great. So well done to Ricky. Again, a few misses here. Maybe Jalab on the first turn.
First note as well, but yeah, a strong player as
Yes.
well. And again, it didn't affect him too much. And I think he turned his tiles well and kind of Tengku, I think, played solidly, but didn't create enough chances, I think, to kind of increase this volatility and get himself back in it. So I think it was quite a
Yeah.
foregone conclusion. Huh?
Yeah. Someone should tell Ricky that tour is no good.
Yeah, it certainly looks plausible, but
Whoa, for once.
No, Vera is good. Toa.
Is that Toa?
Vera, good Vera.
Oh, I didn't even notice it. Alright, what goes around comes around. I'm usually the phonier, now I got phony. I didn't even notice. Okay, I think my time was quite down. I was just quite happy to just block.
Well, not part of that.
No base.
Is there anything that starts with S?
I can't see anything. Yeah.
Okay.
I only play Mihi here. If that happens, Purnomo will give me all the way down there. Unless there's
And
something
it
else.
would score a lot less.
Yeah, the key was very repetitive. Took too long for several. Tower! Hey, there's content in this stream. My endgame also
That's content.
yeah, my